Alright. Awesome. I also present a little bit about the ultra low cost farming methods. So I've been learning from Young Song how to combat pests. I really like a lot of what I saw in what Marisol was presenting in terms of like if you keep your fungus and your biology intact, they naturally will reduce pests. So a lot of this book, the first parts are about establishing beneficial biology, really enhancing that, especially the fungal component. Fungus produces all kinds of like antibiotics. They also will trap and control nematodes. And so definitely starting with a healthy biology is the way in the long run to not have to fight this battle afterward. However, a lot of the ways we farm is different than nature. Like nature would have things kind of polycultured together, and we tend to like monoculture because we want to keep things here and there. So to accommodate that in our farming, Young Song Cho has developed this sulfur here, which I was talking with him, and he says basically there's like pesticides, like how they all of a sudden there was the year 0, and now it's like the year 2000. He's like this thing here. He claims that this is like year 0 when he invented this, and moving forward from here will be like known as this is the century of Jadam sulfur, or the millennium of Jadam sulfur kind of idea. That's how revolutionary.
This is akin to crucifixion on Golgotha.
Yeah. So one thing you gotta understand about him is his dad is like real like Christian and into that whole thing. He in Korean, the same word for God is also the word for alcohol. Just like we call it spirits, right?
Yeah,
spirits.
Yes.
Yeah, so he gets his inspiration from spirits, whereas his dad gets inspiration, from spirit, right?
Sure.
So, when you're sitting around getting into the spirits, you can kind of think along those lines, perhaps.
So you would equate this to like when people would say, "Oh, apply sulfur for your pest control." The dry powder sulfur, what do they call that stuff?
It's very good for mice. Sulfur, yeah.
Yeah, but what is the like name for it?
Sulfur, yeah.
Sulfur. Okay.
Yeah, you're powdered sulfur, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But this here is liquid sulfur. You see that it's liquid?
Yes.
And what he figured out is a way to make this ultra low cost. Like you used to have to get a huge furnace and heat it up to immense temperatures and do all these kind of things. This jar that I'm holding here is like less than $5 for me to make. And it goes a really long way in terms of how you can make this stuff and make huge big batches of it. So in this book here in the back, he has all these different ways of combining this sulfur with other things.
Okay.
So right here I brought two bottles of things. This one here is a ultra low cost soap. You can make it home.
Okay.
And it acts as a sticker spreader.
Right.
It also in itself, if you spray on bugs during the day, can it'll coat them and then they'll overheat to death and they die if you spray it in midday. So it in itself is sort of a pesticide of sorts.
Right.
But when you combine it with this sulfur, what happens is that any place the pest has a opening, the sulfur goes right in there and it really messes them up.
That's right.
The cool thing about sulfur is that it doesn't affect beneficial fungus. The sulfur really goes after the non-beneficial fungus. because their cell walls are different, something like that. I'm not exactly sure.
Sure.
So using this, you're not gonna decimate your biology. It's not like a lot of the things that we use as pesticides were actually developed as like nerve agents for war.
Yes.
And then they had so much at the end of the war, they didn't want to go back to the Great Depression, so they decided to just, start selling it to our farmers and finding uses for them. And it worked really well until we really upset the balance of things. And so these here are fairly within balance. Anytime you use it, you're gonna obviously disrupt some of the natural biology that's happening, but not nearly as much as, like a nuclear bomb, as you were talking about.
Methyl bromide.
Yeah. That kills everything.
Methyl bromide is like a nuclear bomb.
It's illegal,
Everything.
but
So for instance, like here, like he has 15 different recipes that he puts in the back, and these are ways to get started. And I've done a few of these. I've killed. I don't even know what kind of bugs they were.
but they're dead now.
Yeah, but I sprayed them on and they died. It was pretty amazing. I've killed the peach scale.
Okay.
Working on that and using the sulfur in this.
I wouldn't mind if you give me a little sample so I can test
What?
it.
How?
Yeah.
What is it? It's like this magical liquid. What is it?
Okay. So I started talking about it. Then you asked me what can it kill, and so I got. But so how how to make it is you take lye, which I think is potassium hydroxide
From ash. Sure.
Yes, ashes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lies and ashes. Yeah.
Yep. So that.
Isn't that how you make salt with the lye?
Yep. Both these are similar. One uses sodium hydroxide, and the other uses potassium hydroxide. Both those things are similar. But what they do is when you mix them with water, is they get really hot. And we've seen Fight Club.
Yes.
Kisses his hand and then pours the potassium hydroxide and it burns. It makes chemical burns. So the one you use for the sulfur is the one that burns a little bit hotter when you mix it with water. And you take. The recipe's right in here, but I almost had it memorized. I did at one point. Sulfur added into the mix. You add caustic soda, which is sodium hydroxide. NaOH, and water. And then you add a little bit of crushed dirt.
Crushed dirt.
Yeah, or really fine rock. And what that does is, when you're going to dissolve this, the sulfur will sometimes put out particles and things. And this actually, because I didn't use it out, you see how there's like residue going up on the side?
Right.
The rocks would actually pull that out, and you would have clean sulfur if I had added it right in there. But you don't have to.
Ball or something.
You actually mix all this in. A little bit of red clay powder. So crushed rock, a little bit of red clay powder, and sea salt in there. And then you pour the water in, and this thing acts like a volcano of all those things mixing together. And you start stirring it with a stick. And as you stir it, the sulfur then begins to dissolve. And because the sodium hydroxide was so hot, it then melts the sulfur so that it can accept the water. And so instead of having to apply external heat, you use this chemical reaction. And he himself actually discovered this. He's a chemist, and he figured this out and decided not to patent it and just to publish it and get it out. This way you can make this thing at home really easily.
Yeah.
So that's what this is. I made it at home. I did it in a container that was not microwave safe, and it melted pretty good while I was making it as I was stirring it. And also, I recommend you get like a gas mask when you do it because it off-gases pretty well, and definitely wear eye protection, which none of those things I did, but I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Because as those things volatilize, that you'll breathe it in, and it's not that fun. But essentially, you just stir that together, and it creates this liquid, which is now liquid sulfur. And this version of sulfur, it doesn't corrode metal. Like most sulfurs, I think, that you run through will corrode things. This one does not.
Non-corrosive.
Yeah, and we put a metal lid on this. Right? So that's what he does. I mean, it's
And
super
that's
simple.
for just blanket insects, like.
So let me go to the back of the book and talk about the different solutions that he has here. So this, they go kind of progressively up from starting with easier to kill pests to harder to kill pests. The first one he's talking about is this rice Bacani disease, which is a disease that gets into the rice seed. So when you plant it, it's systemic, and then it becomes in your next plant.
Right.
So what he does is he uses just the jadam sulfur, and he soaks the seeds in it for about 12 hours, and it is able to penetrate somehow, and then you can plant that seed, and you will not get that disease transferring through.
Awesome.
The second one he has in here is water rice weevil, and in this one he's using the wetting agent, the sulfur, and a little bit of canola oil.
Right.
It's more of a sticker.
Well, canola, that's rapeseed. That's a pesticide. I mean, unfortunately,
itself.
they feed it to people, but yeah.
Awesome. Good to know.
I mean, that's why they changed the name.
Okay. So for powdery mildew and downy mildew and fungal diseases, he mixes, and I think all these are, so he's measuring into 500 liters, but all this could be scaled down. It's 132 gallons, so all that could be scaled down. He's then mixing in 3 liters of the wetting agent and 1.2 liters of the sulfur. And that'll take care of powdery mildew, downy mildew, fungal diseases.
Wow.
And I gave this recipe to my mom. She was growing Tahitian squash in the greenhouse, and they were like getting totally nailed.
Powdery mildew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she was spraying this on, and completely controlled it.
Wow.
So yeah.
Squash in a while.
So for canker, black spot, hair rust, and brown blotch disease, which I guess, this stuff's a lot on papayas, kind of similar to what they're talking about, the black spot program on papayas. He's again starting with 500 liters, and then he's adding 5 liters of this stuff and 1.5 liters of this into it. And he's able to completely control those diseases.
Black spot, you talking anthracnose or the canker?
Canker and black spot, it's not anthracnose. I think he has a specific one for that.
That looks like a nice book, man. It's got colored
That's
pictures
nice.
and.
Nice book.
I would highly recommend investing in this book.
How to buy this book?
This book is on Amazon.
No way.
Yep, it's called Jadam Organic Farming.
It's on Amazon, huh?
Yep.
How much on Amazon?
It's more than I paid for it. I think there's a Kindle version and there's a other one. I think it's $75.
Oh, that's not bad. Pay more for useless textbooks.
Yeah. So to control aphids and mites, he's using wetting agent, and then what he does is he'll take herbs, and in this case it's Jerusalem artichoke, and he'll put it in a pressure cooker and reduce it down. And then that liquid that's left over, he'll mix that in, and that will then control aphids and mites. So what he does is he looks for plants out that no bug eats.
Yeah, hardy.
And he'll take those and reduce them down in a pressure cooker, and take those and then experiment on different bugs to see which one that'll kill. Because to us, we can still eat it. It's not toxic. So none of these are poisonous to us. But when you reduce them down like that, they're poisonous to the bugs.
Yeah.
So to control aphids and mites, he uses Jerusalem artichoke and this wetting agent here. To kill moths, which includes fruit fly and some other things like that, he uses again the wetting agent with Jerusalem artichoke reduced down. He's killing citrus, flatted plant hoppers, leaf hoppers, mulberry suckers, and spot cloth wax cicadas with the wetting agent and ginkgo.
Okay.
So the ginkgo tree takes the ginkgo leaves, reduces them down, sprays it on. So he's killing stink bugs, thrips, greenhouse whitefly, turnip moths, flea, beetles, hair suckers, onion fly, mosquitoes, and grasshoppers. He's killing those guys with a wetting agent and Korean passiflora root. And his all-purpose pesticide, like if you don't know what to do, he uses the sulfur, the wetting agent, and Jerusalem artichoke. Right? So.
Oh, I'm super stoked on that, man. That's really inspiring.
That's pretty cool. I think I'm gonna buy me the book.
Yeah. So his main way to apply it is he uses foams that work really well. Foam, like a foam sprayer.
Oh, sprayer. Foam
They would spray it out.
Okay.
That's like the most effective way to do it. But I also just got a like it's called an atomizer kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the idea is you want to get small particles out and shoot from the bottom and then hit top and hit the bottom of the leaf as well as the top.
Yeah, because many insects hide on the bottom of the leaf.
Yeah. And if you coat it and get these small drops out there, it'll pretty much kill everything.
With the soap.
Yeah.
Foam up.
Yeah. And the soap, this soap will even wet like taro leaves.
Wow.
Like something that's hydrophobic, you spray it around and it just wets it. It's amazing. So,
Yeah, if you don't put a wetting agent, whatever product you use doesn't work because insects are hydrophobic.
yeah.
They have this waxy or oily outer covering. So if you don't put a soap, then whatever you spray just literally rolls off your back.
Yeah. And this other thing, if you are growing in a greenhouse, he says you can take these things and just put them in like a smoker, close the doors to the greenhouse, and just smoke the thing up. And then after that, just leave it in there overnight, come in the morning, air it out, and you're good to go.
Wow.
So, another way to apply it. So,
Smoke them out.
so, yeah, this book's on Amazon. Check it out.
That's pretty fresh, man.
And if anyone wants to sample this, you can have, this is, what, you dilute it.
Pour me a shot glass?
I don't know.
I don't know if I want to drink.
I don't know if I want to drink
I'm not
that.
gonna persuade
Some-
you of that.
Gary, I have some empty jars in the car.
So yeah, if you guys want some of this, yeah.
I wouldn't mind to have.
Do you have a little cup jar?
I have some jars.
I don't have the jars.
Some mason jars too.
I think I've got